Am I worthy? This is the question that we ask ourselves repeatedly that prevents us from expressing and experiencing the things that we want in our life. In this podcast, I am going to give you the context in which this question arises into our consciousness and clear step-by-step instructions on how to increase your sense of worthiness so that you can experience what you want and express how you want in this world in a generative way. So get a pen and paper, sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Seriously Human. Am I worthy? So that is the question that we are going to break down today on Seriously Human. I'm Cayce Kolodney, and I am seriously human, perfectly imperfect. And I have a lot of thoughts, because I've talked to a lot of people, I've read a lot of books, I've coached a lot of people, and I've seen what works. And so often when we are talking to people, they ask, how do I feel more worthy? So let's break it down by defining terms. So let's define worth. Worth is value. Worth is value. Worthiness is, do I have enough value for X? And so when our ego asks, am I worthy? It's asking it in relationship to something, but the thing that it's asking it to isn't answering, right? So let us now define ego. For the sake of this video, ego is the impersonal aspect of consciousness that is exploring this dimension of the universe. It's an impersonal aspect of consciousness exploring this part of the universe. So what else is impersonal that explores dimensions of the universe? Think of your Instagram account. Your Instagram account is an account that has a username and a password, and it has your name on it. It has all of your pictures in it. It's connected to all the people you're connected with here, and it allows you to explore the dimension of Instagram where not only do you get to see things, but you get a mirror reflection back on your own expression, your own behavior, to see what's valuable in the dimension of Instagram. It's the same thing with your ego in the dimension of this human experience. And so what the Instagram account is asking, the ego is asking, is, am I worthy enough to express the value you desire to express or experience, right? So it'd be like my bank account asking me, am I worthy? Worthy for what? What it is worthy of is facilitating the current experience that I have right now. That is what my bank account is worthy of. And you are worthy of existing the way you exist right now. And you are worthy of whatever you are able to choose in the next moment. So, is my bank account worthy of a yacht? No. Sadly, no. It is not worthy of a yacht. I could not trade the contents of my bank account for a yacht. Does that mean that my bank account will never achieve the value that is needed to get a yacht? Absolutely not. It has the potential, just like you do. Change is inevitable. Everybody can agree on that. The same man never steps into the same river twice, because the river is different and the man is different. It's just like you. Every moment you are changing, and it is about choosing the change. Intentional change is learning. We are here to learn and to grow. But what paralyzes us from that? What paralyzes us is that we have an ideal of what perfection is. And I want to shatter that, because if it is an ideal, it doesn't exist, and therefore it isn't perfect enough to exist. What is and couldn't be any other way, or else it would be. And the fact that it does, that it is, the odds are in the trillions that it exists exactly the way that it does, means that it's perfect, that it was perfect enough to exist. And if it's an ideal of what you have of perfection, it hasn't come into manifestation because it's not perfect enough yet. It doesn't align with the greatest good of all. This does. This is perfect, and you are worthy of the perfect expression of life as it is right now. So let go of perfection. That doesn't mean don't have ideals, don't have intentions, don't have desires, but you can't judge yourself or your value based off of an ideal that doesn't exist now. All right. So what we have covered so far is that worth is about value, and we're asking the question, worthy enough for what? Which we're saying the ego is asking that question in relationship to something. And what is that something that it's relating to? Well, it is our essence. Who were you when you were born? You were an undeniably lovable essence with a unique set of sensitivities. That is you. Everything that was built on top of that, all the stories, all the personality traits, all the habits, the behaviors, your voice, etc., that is all your ego, which is there to facilitate the highest expression of your essence. It's there to facilitate, it's there to be of service. And so when it says, am I worthy? Who is it asking? You, that essence. But you're not tapped into that essence because you're so fused to your ego. You're so fused to the Instagram account that you can't decide if the Instagram account is serving the expression that your essence desires or the experience that your essence is desiring to create. So we need to be able to zoom out from our ego. And since we're unable to zoom out from our ego, and our ego is searching to be trained, just like how an algorithm wants to be trained, we receive inputs from other egos, and their inputs are distorted. They are not in alignment with the truth of our experience or reality, because it's through their limited perception. It is a limited aspect of truth. Might it have some nuggets of truth inside of it? Certainly. But it's a distorted perception. And so we then get ourselves all worked up because we've been trained by so many conflicting things. So imagine if you put a dog through police training and the same day you put it through service dog training, at the same time you let it do whatever it wanted and tried to get it to do all kinds of tricks. That dog would be an anxious mess. It would be miserable. It would be disobedient. It would be barking. It would be peeing. It would be biting. And that's what the majority of our egos are like. Because if your ego was you, it would do whatever you wanted it to do. Just like if you were your dog, whatever the dog was doing is what you wanted to do. But there's a separation, right? You say to your ego, don't think of that. And then boom, thoughts pop in the head. The mind just starts circulating. What about this? What about the future? What about this? Right? Judgments. It says, don't talk about yourself in this group setting. And then what do? We talk about ourselves in the group setting. Or don't gossip about that person. Then we gossip about that person. The ego is separate from us. It is an account that needs to be trained, and it wants to serve us, and it's trying to serve us, but we're not giving it the appropriate feedback. And that is what that question is signaling to me, that you haven't given your ego the proper training that it is seeking, that it is desiring. So how do we train our egos? Well, it wants to be of value. Am I worthy? So we need to define what is valuable. What is valuable to the essence that is expressing itself through this ego? And so you can think of it as like that essence lives inside of your heart, and your heart has all of these desires that it wants to express and experience in this dimension, and the ego is there to facilitate it. So you need to open your heart. So just take a minute and breathe into your heart, exhale out of your heart, inhale into your heart, exhale out of your heart. All right. Now I want you to ask your heart the following question. How do you want to make other people feel? Pause the video, write it down. Great. Now, what do you want to experience in this world, emotionally or materially? Pause the video, answer. How do you want to see yourself? What character traits do you want to embody to be a person that you admire? All right, great. There are infinite questions that you could write down that will reveal what your values are. So when you look at those answers, what you'll see is that there are themes. And those themes, it's the chair. Calm down. It's a chair. And those themes are your values. So write down what your values are based off of those themes. Pause, take a moment. Great. Now that you have that, write down the behaviors that correlate with the expression of those values. Take a moment. Great. Now, you said, Cayce, we don't want contradiction in the training. We don't want all these contradictory agreements. We want to train the dog. Now we have all these decisions between these behaviors to make. You're right. So what do? Well, because we live in a dimension that is linear with time and space, there has to be hierarchy. Oh, hierarchy. We don't like that. We don't like that hierarchy, but there must be, which, just to say differently, is priorities. So you need to choose which ones you need to prioritize for the greater good of the remainder below it. For example, if I don't choose the behavior of sleep, then the rest of the values that I have are worthless because I won't be able to show up healthy, energized, cognitively sharp to serve and execute the behaviors that I believe are going to be of greatest service to humanity, myself, the experience that this essence wants to have and express. So I have to do sleep. Once my sleep account is full, I can make withdrawals from it, but I don't want to go into debt with it. I don't want to be in sleep debt. I don't want to be in hunger debt. I don't want to be in any kind of debt. I want to invest the energy first in what is going to feed me and regenerate. And then I can spend and make withdrawals from those main values into my other values, right? Think of it as a fountain. Only once it's overflowing can it spill to the next bucket. And so put that in order and realize that there are going to be moments where you want to go to the concert, but you have a cold and you need to choose your health over the concert in order to go to the concert another day. And when we do this, what happens is our ego is trained and it's no longer searching for what is the most generative response. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? It knows what you want it to do, and it trusts that if you want it to do something else, you'll communicate to it. And it trusts that what you want it to do is generative and is good, because if you told it to do these things that were degenerative, it's not going to trust you. It's going to be anxious. It's be like, boss, you're really heading down the wrong path. This isn't serving me. This isn't serving you. I need to find an alternative. And you'll say, shut up. You got to do this. And then we hate ourselves because we fragment. We need to have unified leadership, because when we're serving the ego and our essence in a way that is generative for both are happy. But the leader needs to be the essence. All right. So that's that, really. And there's so many more things that we'll be talking about on this show, but let's start there. Get clear on what your value is so that you can then track your worth based off of your values. Am I valuable to myself? Not am I valuable in the distorted perception of others, right? So if someone came and told me I'm a fat slob and that was their distorted perception of me, it doesn't impact me because I go to the gym, I work, I go on runs, I eat good food. And so even if I was blind, I wouldn't believe them because I know that I'm doing those behaviors. So you ultimately have to track how congruent you are with the behaviors that are in alignment with your stated values. So that's Seriously Human for today, folks. I love you a lot. How happy are you? So happy. Comment anything else you'd like me to cover. I love you so much. Have a blessed day.